Hey there, and welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast, the show where we're all about helping you feel confident both as a mom and a business owner. I'm your host, Kendra Swalls, mom of two, former teacher, and full-time photographer and business coach. Each week, we'll discuss the challenges, success, and secrets that make you say, I can do this, because you absolutely can. So pop in those earbuds, grab your favorite snack, and let's get ready, because this girl means business. Hey friends, and welcome back to the Girl Means Business podcast. In this episode, we're talking all about social media and more specifically, Instagram and Instagram engagement, how to get more engagement on your Instagram content. It's what we all want. It's what we're here to learn all about this week. Now, when it comes to social media and social media platforms, you have to decide which platform is right for you, for your business, your brand, and for your audience. For me, as a photographer and as an educator, Instagram is my favorite platform by far out of all the platforms. Mostly because it's a very visual platform, but also because that's where I have found my community. That's where I found my audience. It's where they spend their time, so it's where I want to spend my time. But also, I just enjoy the platform, and that's key. If you're going to be spending a lot of time on a platform for marketing, creating content, all the things, it needs to be a platform that you enjoy spending time on. And for me, that's Instagram. If Instagram is also your platform of choice or one of your platforms of choice, you might have noticed that in the last year and a half, the engagement on the platform has decreased. It's something I see people talking about all the time. Where did my likes go? Where did my comments go? Where did my engagement go? And here's the thing. When we went into COVID in 2020, we had 2020 and 2021 were like boom years for social media because people were at home. They had more free time. They weren't going out and doing other things in their lives. And so they were spending more time on social media, which means they had more time to engage with a wide variety of content. Then you head into 2022, 2023, and now going into 2024, and everybody's getting back to, quote, normal life. We're going back out and doing things. We're going back into a 9-to-5 job, into an office. Our kids are back in school. We have activities we're going to. We're traveling. We're doing all these things, and we're spending less time on social media. But that doesn't mean that we can't still get really good engagement. It just means that the people who are spending their time on social media are being a little more selective about the content they're engaging with, the content that they are putting out, and the content that they want to, or the accounts that they want to follow. So we have to get creative. We have to use some strategies that are going to help tell our audience, that are going to help draw our audience into our content and want them to choose our content and our accounts as the ones that they spend time engaging with. So how do we do that? Well, that's what this episode's all about. And I have 4 surefire tips that are going to help you get more engagement on your content. So let's get into it. Now, my first tip is probably not like the tip you actually want to hear, but it's the tip that you need to hear, and that is consistency. You've heard it before, consistency. You have to be consistent on social media in order to stay relevant, in order to stay on top of mind with your audience. But what does consistent actually mean? A lot of times people confuse consistency with constantly. They think that that means that you need to be putting out content every single day or multiple times a day or even 5 times a week. And that's not necessarily true. Consistency just means that you need to be showing up in a consistent manner so that your audience expects your content. What typically happens, and I am totally guilty of this at some point too, is that you go on and you're like, okay, this is going to be the year that I'm going to be consistent on social media. And for about a month, you schedule out your content and you post regularly and you're seeing some traction being built up. Then life gets busy. You start getting busy with client work, things happen, and you fall off the wagon. You forget to schedule your content and your content does not go out consistently. So then you pop in randomly, maybe a month goes by and then you post, and then another couple weeks go by and then you post again. And then you get frustrated because you're not getting the engagement that you want. One of my favorite quotes is, Random action gets you random results. And I live by this idea that if you just pop up sporadically on social media and expect to get all of this love and engagement, it's just not going to happen. You have to be consistent. But what does consistent actually look like? So consistent is different for every single person. There are some accounts out there who consistent means every single day, twice a day, 7 days a week, which is a lot. But that is their sole purpose. Their sole job is to create content. If that's not your sole job, if you are not a content creator, you are a photographer, you're a wedding planner, you're a real estate agent, you have other things to do, and social media is just part of your marketing strategy, posting every single day is probably not going to be the strategy that works for you that you can stay consistent with. Maybe it's posting 3 times a week. Maybe it's posting twice a week. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever that consistent schedule looks like for you is what needs to be your consistency level that you attain for or achieve for or strive for, whatever the saying is. But the point is, pick a consistency level that you can actually stick with. If you go in and you say, I'm going to post 5 days a week, every single week, and that's not sustainable for you, you're going to fall off that schedule. You're going to get frustrated, and then you're going to lose that engagement that you're building up. But if you start off saying, I feel like I can do really well posting 3 times a week, and I can schedule that out, or twice a week and I can schedule that out, and I can stay on top of it because it's not so overwhelming. I'm not having to create 7 pieces of content a week. I only have to create 2 or 3. That's more doable. Then that's your consistency level. It's like the idea with this podcast. Whenever I started this podcast, I knew I had to stay consistent with it. That if I posted episodes every week for 6 months and then dropped off the face of the earth for 2 months and then popped back in with a random episode for a week, and then maybe I skipped 2 weeks and I post for another couple weeks and I skip for a week or 2, I was going to lose my followers. I was going to lose listeners because they are excited to listen or watch, in this case, this episode every single week. And so you have to be consistent with it. And that's the same thing with your social media. Even if it feels like no one is paying attention to your content, people are paying attention. And if you disappear and then just sporadically pop up here one time and twice this week and then not anything for 2 weeks, then one time when you're offering a sale and you expect people to just engage and buy or work with you, it's not going to happen and you're going to get frustrated. So random action creates random results. Consistent action creates consistent results. So that is tip number 1, is find a consistency level that works for you and build up a habit of every Monday you sit down and you schedule your content for the week. Or maybe the first of the month you schedule your content for the entire month and then it's done. But that way you're able to stay consistent with it. And if you're looking for a scheduling tool to help you with that, I have Metricool, the one that I use, linked down in the show notes. So make sure you check that out. It's a really great tool and you can use it for free to schedule your content. So go down to the show notes and grab that link.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you've been listening to the Girl Means Business podcast for any amount of time, then you know my love of email marketing runs deep. Not only is it a great way to generate new leads, but it's one of the most effective methods for nurturing warm leads and turning them into sales. Now, over the years, I've tested several email platforms, and my favorite by far is Flowdesk. Not only do they make email marketing simple and easy, even for the technically challenged, but they have everything you need to create stunning emails, capture leads, make sales, and automate the entire process, giving you time back in your busy day. And the cherry on top is you're only charged one flat fee no matter how many subscribers you have. So while other platforms will increase your price when you go over your pricing tier limit, Flowdesk has no price increases or hidden fees. If you're ready to give Flowdesk a try, click the link below in the show notes to save 50% off your first year. Let Flowdesk help you design emails people will love. Click the link below and check it out. I have a feeling you're going to love it just as much as I do. Okay, so tip number 2 is going to seem a little childish, but hear me out. If you want people to engage with your content, you have to ask them to engage with your content. So I taught elementary school for 14 years. I taught everything from second grade through fifth grade, and I found that this was consistent across the board. My students were not mind readers. Your audience are not mind readers. If I did not tell my students exactly step by step what I wanted them to do, they weren't going to do it. They were going to do the most minimal thing that they could do to get through the assignment or the project or whatever it was. And same thing goes for adults. Unfortunately, we like to be told exactly what to do. If you are creating content where you are just kind of putting out like this random caption with no real strong call to action, you're not telling people what to do with that content. They're going to look at it, they're going to consume it, they're going to go, oh, that was nice, and then they're going to keep scrolling. They're probably not going to comment. They're probably not going to like or share or save that piece of content because they weren't really told what to do with that content. There are a few instances, but they are rare, where a piece of content is really entertaining or super inspiring, and it doesn't need anything else in order for people to choose to share that content or save that content or send it to somebody else. But those pieces of content are few and far between. For the majority of your content, you need to tell people what it is that you want them to do. So let me give you an example of what it should look like versus what it actually looks like for most content pieces. So let's say that I am recording this podcast episode and I take a picture, like a behind the scenes of me recording this episode, and I put it out on social media, on Instagram, and I say, recording some new podcast episodes. I'm so excited. Can't wait for you to listen. There's probably not going to be a ton of engagement on that post because I didn't really give you anything to do with that information. It's like, oh, great, she's recording episodes. That's fabulous. I might double tap and like it, but there's nothing else really there for people to do. Now, if I take that same photo and I take the same caption, recorded some new podcast episodes today, I'm so excited for y'all to listen to them. Tag a friend that you think might be interested in listening to the show. Or I could say, share this to your stories. New episodes come out on such and such date. Or I could say, let me know or click follow if you want to make sure you get updated when these episodes come live. Or, hey, here's some of the topics I recorded about today. Which one are you most excited to listen to? All of those calls to action give them something to do with the content. So instead of just seeing it, maybe liking it and scrolling on, they now have been told, they've been given instructions. They've been told, hey, I need to tag a friend, or, oh, I should share this to my stories because I want more people to listen to this upcoming podcast. Or I should tell her which episode I'm most excited to hear about because maybe she'll record more of those types of episodes. It gives them something to do. Which leads me to our number 3 tip, which kind of ties into this whole thing, is you have to be very specific and keep it simple. So going back to the elementary school kind of analogy, students, young students, elementary students, not only do they have to be given directions, but those directions have to be short, simple, and to the point. Otherwise, they're going to get confused. They're going to get lost in the process, and they're not going to end up doing the thing I want them to do. Same thing with social media. If I want you to leave me a comment, I have to give you clear, specific, simple instructions on what that comment should be. Another saying I love is a confused mind doesn't take action. So if something is confusing to somebody or it makes them think too much or work too hard, they're probably not going to do it. Most people are on social media scrolling because they want to kind of take a break from mentally having to do much in their day. So if you come along and you're asking them to do mental gymnastics just to answer a question or leave a comment, they're going to be like, that's too much work. Keep on going. And so a lot of times what happens is we put up that post about behind the scenes of recording podcast episodes. And we say, if you're excited, let me know what you're excited for, or let me know what you think of the podcast coming back. And that requires people to actually form their own thoughts, ideas, and opinions to put out there. And it might seem really crazy, but that is asking a lot of our social media followers who are on this app, on this platform scrolling for a mental break. So instead, you want to make it as simple as possible. I'll keep with the same example. If I'm posting a behind the scenes photo of me recording podcast episodes and I say, here are 2 upcoming episodes that we have coming out. I'm excited. Here are the topics. Which one are you most excited to listen to, A or B? All they have to do in the comments is write A or B. And if they want to expand on that, they can. But even someone leaving a comment with A or B is going to count as engagement. They've now taken the time, because it's super easy and simple, to type in an A or type in a B and hit submit. They've now added to my engagement. Not only that, but I now have a really simple way to get feedback from my audience on something that could help me create more and better content going forward. So you want to make sure your content is clear, simple, and specific. So using a call to action that asks a specific question: do you like this photo better in black and white or color? Did you find this strategy helpful? Yes or no? If you and then you can expand. If you did, share it with a friend or tag a friend, or let me know why you found this helpful in the comments. And then you could even go into your comments and you could engage a little more and you could ask them more specific questions. One strategy along this lines that is incredibly, incredibly helpful is keyword automation. So keyword automation is when, you've probably seen it all over Instagram, but it's when someone puts up a post and they say, hey, if you want to learn more, comment below with this keyword podcast. So go back to that example again. If I post the behind the scenes and I say recording more episodes, so excited, can't wait for you to listen. If you want to check out the latest episodes, type podcast in the comment below and I will send you a direct link to your DMs. Now, here's how that works. You could manually go in and do that. So if someone types podcast, I could go in and click on their name and send them a message, type it all out. Hey, thanks so much. I'm so excited you're glad to listen. Here's a link to the show, copy and paste a link. However, that takes a lot of work. I then have to be checking my messages or my comments very often, and it's not instant. People want instant gratification. So if someone goes into my Instagram at 11 o'clock at night and comments podcast, I'm not really going to see it or respond to it till 7 or 8 the next morning. That's a long time that they have to wait to get something in response to that comment. So instead, we use DM automation tools. So the one that I use, love, and recommend is ManyChat. ManyChat. I will link to it down in the show notes so you can go check it out. Again, you can use it for free to begin with, and it is a great way to automate these keywords. So if you want someone to take action on your post, if I want people to, get more information about the podcast or subscribe to the podcast, then they can drop just the word podcast. Again, it keeps it simple. They don't have to think, they don't have to create their own, custom response. They just have to type in the keyword. And then the beauty is it sends them a direct message. So now not only have they commented, they are getting a direct message from me. So they don't have to stop scrolling. They can keep on scrolling through the rest of their content they want to go through. And that direct message is sitting there in their inbox waiting for them when they're ready to go look at it. It's also a great way to start a conversation with somebody, because once you're in their DMs, it's a lot easier for them to open up and ask more questions or get feedback or start a conversation. It feels a little bit more like, oh, now we're connected, and they're probably going to be more likely to follow you if they weren't already following you because you're in their DMs. And clearly you've created content that they wanted to engage with. So DM automation is a really great way to keep it simple enough that people are willing to put in one keyword. They don't even type a full response, one word into the comments, and then they're getting something out of it. So let me give you another example. If you are a family photographer and you are going to be offering a specific mini session coming up, maybe it's a Valentine's Day mini session, and you're posting about it on social media, and you post this really cute photo of the setup and like the test subject that you used, and you're talking about all the details of the mini session, and you want people to comment to let you know that they're interested in learning more about these mini sessions or booking a session. Then you could say, comment below with the word Valentine, and I will send you all of the information for these mini sessions. And so they type in the word Valentine into the comments, it sends them a direct message, and now you've kind of started this conversation with them. You can gauge how many people are actually interested in this, and it takes out these extra steps that you're asking people to do currently. You're asking them to go to your link in bio. That means they have to stop scrolling, go to your page, your profile, click the link, and then go probably mostly out of Instagram completely. They're not going to want to do that. However, if they can get the information sent to their inbox and keep scrolling, they're more likely to go back to that information later on. Or if you're asking them to leave you a unique comment, it takes brain power, energy, and time. They're not necessarily going to do that unless they are really, really invested in you. We're trying to catch the people who are just kind of watching and looking and scrolling, grab their interest, let them leave you a comment, a keyword, get that information in their inbox, and now you can continue that connection and build that relationship with that potential client by keeping it simple. Okay, so far we've talked about consistency, we've talked about asking them to do what you want them to do to get the engagement, and keeping it simple. Now, the fourth one is to walk the walk. If you want people to give you engagement on your content, you need to be giving engagement as well. Social media is meant to be social. And so if we're going on and we're posting content, or even if you're scheduling content, so you're not even on the app to post the content, and then you're not really engaging with other accounts, people are not going to want to engage with you a lot either. I think about it as in real life social situations. If you have a group of friends and they're constantly making plans, they're like, we're going to go to dinner and we're going to go to this movie and we're going to go to this event, and they're inviting you, but you never go to those things. You never go to dinner. You never go to the movie. You never go to the event. They're eventually going to stop inviting you to come to these things. Same thing goes with social media. If you are just posting content and you're making it about let me kind of talk at you instead of talk with you, then people are going to eventually go, well, she's not interested in engaging with me, so I'm not going to engage with her. And I know that sounds really petty and childish, and I get it. It does sound kind of crazy, but when you look at how the algorithms work and you look at how social media works, we need to be engaging with other content. That can mean going out and finding clients, ideal client profiles, and engaging with their content. It could mean engaging with other industry content. So if you're a wedding planner, engaging with other wedding industry accounts. If you're a hairstylist, it's engaging with other small businesses in your community. It's just engagement by liking people's posts, saving people's posts, commenting on their posts, sharing it. What I love to do is go into people's stories. And if they have an active story that I can respond to in the story, it sends them a message in their DMs. And now we've created, again, those DMs are really powerful. We've created this open line of communication. Here's a perfect example. So as a local photographer, I like to go in and engage with content from other small business owners in my area. So I have maybe a local salon that I will engage with. And if they post a story about, hey, we have a really amazing special coming up where you can get 20% off and a free gift, then I might comment on that story where you can the little reply box at the bottom. And I might say, oh my gosh, this is an amazing deal. Can you, send me a graphic and I'll share it to my stories as well. And that sends it to their DM. It shows that I'm interested in investing in their business, which in turn, they'll probably be invested in helping me with mine, or at least following along with mine. Little things like that. Even if you just say something like, oh, this is an amazing deal. I hope you get tons of, people signing up for this. This is awesome. Or, going on someone's post and saying things like, oh, this is so incredible. You're doing a great job. I love this. If it's a local restaurant that's opening, maybe go in and say oh, I can't wait to come check it out. This looks amazing. Just starting those conversations, getting your name in people's faces, even if it's not your content necessarily, but they're going to start to recognize your name, other, accounts, other businesses, whoever you're engaging with is going to start noticing that hey, this person keeps commenting, or this person keeps liking my things. Maybe I should go check them out. And I know it's not instant gratification. Social media is not always about instant gratification, unfortunately. As much as we all want instant gratification, that's not how social media works all the time. So we have to do these little bits and pieces, these little building blocks that are going to eventually build up this wonderful, beautiful building that is going to support your business. That's a weird analogy, but you get what I mean. It's little pieces that fit together to create the entire puzzle. So, okay. real quick recap, we talked about consistency, making sure that you create a consistent plan that works for you that you can stick with. Number 2 was to ask for what you want. If you want people to tag a friend, tell them to tag a friend. If you want them to share the post, ask them to share that post. Make sure they know exactly what it is you want them to do. Number 3 was to keep it simple. Do not ask them to go to your link in bio and jump through hoops to get what you want from them. You have to keep it simple, and a great way to do that is with keyword automation or asking them yes or no questions or this or that type questions. And number 4 is to walk the walk. Make sure that if you want that engagement, you're giving that engagement as well. So here's the part where I ask you to a call to action. If you are listening to this episode, I would love for you to subscribe to the podcast. Just click the little plus button or the follow button, depending on what platform you're on. And as a bonus, I would absolutely love for you to leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, just click that little subscribe button so that you get notified when new videos go live. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here, and I will see you back here next week. Thanks again for tuning into this week's episode. Don't forget to leave a review and follow us on socials at Girl Means Business. See you next week.